Welcome to Seattle, home of the Seattle Seahawks, where the 12th man is alive and in the building!
Time now for Seahawks Central Radio, hosted by Jamie Nicole, Football Girl, and Kevin Norman.
We go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night, we'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us, like the ceiling can't hold us. We go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night, we'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us, like the ceiling can't hold us.
Now, can I kick it back?
Seahawks! Welcome to Seahawks Central Radio, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Once again.
I
wonder if we have like new new listeners though. Hi, new listeners.
If we have new viewers, they're watching a blank screen right now.
Not necessarily. It could
They're
be.
probably watching porn.
It could be porn.
Could be
I wonder
porn.
if they could like put if our voices match the porn.
No, welcome to Seahawks Central Radio.
Seahawks Central Radio. That's right.
We have an awesome show for you guys today. We have a special guest who will be on later.
Fear the beard.
Michael Bennett, defensive end.
Yeah. So excited. He's super awesome. I met him at training camp once this year. We met him at training camp, and it was just an amazing experience. He is such a positive influence, great person. I'm super excited for this interview. And I have we have a super special question that need to
We
ask.
have multiple super special questions. It's a pretty laid back interview with these questions. We have some serious questions. Talk a little bit about Carolina, but yeah, stay tuned for that because it's amazing.
It is amazing. I am so glad that he plays for the Seahawks. That's all I really have to say about that. Funny
All
guy.
right. Well, then next topic.
Next topic is, do you want to talk about the Raiders game? Which you would have to start because if you remember, the Raiders preseason game, although was awesome, I drove from Bellevue to Seattle, which was super, except it took me forever. And then I was at West Seattle Bridge and I had to walk 1.8 miles because I GPSed it to get to CenturyLink. And unfortunately, I missed the first, and it wasn't the whole first quarter. I was like half of the first quarter. Yeah. And I was walking with a Raiders fan, which was actually cool because he was nice and talking about how I had the perfect stride. It was, whatever, but super mad about that.
Well, the first quarter started out better for us, and they cleaned up the penalty issue,
Right.
which was really good because it wasn't yellow flags everywhere, or as Jamie says,
Flags on flags on flags.
that was exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, so they cleaned that up a bit. You saw a few passes to the tight ends, which was nice to see. You didn't see much beast mode. Of course, they're saving him.
Unfortunately, Michael Bowie got injured, which I
Yeah.
didn't get to see that happen. Not that I'd want to see him get injured, but we wish him the best because he has a shoulder injury currently and will not be playing in the Carolina game because of it.
Do you know what his expected return date is?
To be determined. They don't even have a diagnosis from what I know. He's been really hard to get a hold of, and we don't really talk about injuries to the players that we know anyways, but I don't remember. I went through and I watched the game and I never saw him fall. So I think it is the cameraman wasn't panned on him at that point, but I just know that he's going to be out this game and he was getting testing over the weekend. So
Yeah, I didn't see the injury when it happened.
nobody did. I tried to put feelers out there to figure out exactly what happened. And unfortunately, nobody has seen that fall. Either that or he fell and maybe hyperextended it later. I don't even know to the extent enough that he was pulled out of the first quarter and then he's not playing for this next game. So
Yeah. So we wish him the best.
absolutely.
Another injury update. Percy Harvin sent out a tweet earlier today,
I retweeted it.
September 4th, that says that he's making progress and keep an eye on week 7. Don't hang the 11s up yet.
So this is what I went and did. After I saw that, I looked at our schedule, and I said, where are we going to be in week 7? At Arizona.
At Arizona?
Arizona week 7. So I looked at the schedule, and if I can remember correctly, because I did it at work, don't tell anybody, because I'm not really supposed to be pulling stuff like that up. But when I looked at it at work, I was pretty sure that is an away game, right? So we're
at
different.
Arizona, yes.
Yeah, at Arizona, week 7. After that is St. Louis. So we totally could use him for St. Louis. And then we go into this like spotty, teams we need to be relaxed. Teams we need to be like we go into this weird checkerboard area. So we'll see. I don't think that Tampa Bay is going to be a big deal, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, we end up playing Arizona and St. Louis again. But also, I'd like to announce that we have someone on to interview. We have Will Carroll, who's an injury expert and lead writer for sports medicine at Bleacher Report. How are you doing tonight, Will Carroll?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Ooh, jazzy. I like your voice. Let's do this. We're good. We're having an awesome show. We have some questions on the fly for you. If you can hang out.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Actually, let's just dive into this really quick.
Yeah,
Percy Harvin sent out a tweet earlier today that said, keep an eye on week 7.
He's looking to come back then, and I like it. I like the idea. I want my athletes, working hard, having optimistic goals, feeling really good about how their rehab is going. That doesn't make it realistic in the slightest. Nobody has come back this quickly. Maybe he can. Maybe he's a miracle worker. Maybe, somebody came down and touched him and he's all better. But, in all likelihood, we're looking at week 10 or later. The optimistic goal was November before. This is sweetness and light, and bless him for thinking that way. You want that, but I don't believe it.
So what is your opinion on Geno Smith's injury? That's not even what I was trying to say. On RG3's injury. He, in my opinion, is coming back extremely too early for something of that caliber.
Well, it's an interesting one because, last year everybody talked about Adrian Peterson and how he was coming back too quick. And then after he came back and was amazing, it was like, oh, what have we done here? Have we reset the clock? Not really. This is really no different than what we saw from Wes Welker 2 years ago, who came back on almost exactly the same time frame. Griffin's coming back 1 day quicker than Wes Welker did. When you look at Adrian Peterson, when you look at Robert Griffin, you start thinking to yourself, wow, these are amazing athletes. These guys are in incredible shape. They have muscles I don't think I have.
Yep.
But when you take a look at Wes Welker, you go, oh, look at him. How's he played in the NFL? Nobody says incredible athlete about Wes Welker, and everybody's pretty much forgot he came back on pretty much the same time frame. Now, part of this is the fact that we underestimate Wes Welker. He's a heck of an NFL player. He's in great shape. He had good doctors, a good rehab staff. But this isn't that unusual. Now, a lot of people are freaking out because they saw Griffin come out with the brace last year and still tear his ACL. They realize now that he had an ACL tear in college, which he came back from pretty well, I think. This really isn't any different. I think what we're learning is that athletes are special. We want to pretend they're like the rest of us, and just look at them. They're barely the same species. I think Griffin's going to come back. I think he's going to come back well. I do think they're going to change how they use him. I think they're going to be a little bit reluctant to send him in, if it's 3rd and 2, if it's, 2nd and goal, do they want to get him all, clogged up in the middle? No, I don't think they do. And I think that helps Alfred Morris, who's a player I just love. I keep missing him by 1 in every fantasy league I'm in. But I think Griffin's still going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. I think he's going to be a very good fantasy quarterback. And while he's risky because he gets hit, I think they're going to try to limit that a little bit. But I think by the time we get to week 6 or week 7, we're not going to be thinking about it at all.
So, Will, Chris Clemens is the ACL injury, and he's on about the same timeline as Robert Griffin III. Playing a different position, though, what are your thoughts on his healing?
That's the interesting thing, is how do we differentiate from the outside what's going on? I have an advantage. I talk to all these guys. I have sources inside almost every team, and by week 2 or 3, I'll have every team down. The problem is I never know which coaches and guys have moved around sometimes, so it takes me a while to catch up. It's just really tough to figure out exactly where these guys is. Even in the extremely public cases of rehab, for instance, Rob Gronkowski, who can't breathe without having it reported on by the Boston media, we just don't get that much information. I think Clemens is going to come back very well. The question is, how is it different? How are the functionality different? I think the best example of this is comparing one of the best defensive players, Darrelle Revis, who's coming back from 4 months extra over Griffin, and yet we have more questions about him than we do. Why? Well, he goes backwards. It's kind of like the old joke about Ginger Rogers. Who's the better dancer, Fred Astaire or Ginger Rogers? Well, Ginger does it backwards and in heels. I don't think Darrelle Revis wears heels. I don't know him that well.
Yeah.
I don't know him that well, but it's a different functionality. And when we take a look at what defensive ends in the modern NFL are asked to do, they're asked to be very fast, they're asked to be very quick, and they're asked to run in circles. I think one of the greatest things I saw in Hard Knocks this year was a defensive end, I think it was to Quinn Evans, who ended up getting suspended, was running around what looked like a giant hula hoop. And people are like, what the heck is that? Well, that's exactly the radius you want around a tackle. And so when you think about that, when you think about the force that puts on an ACL, because an ACL is both linear and rotational, oftentimes you tear it with a rotational motion, the twisting that you're going to have coming around, and the uncertainty you have in the movement, because that big left tackle or right tackle is going to be punching you and moving you around, and you have to cut. That's exactly the motion that Clemens is going to have to do each and every play. Unless he's just going to suddenly bull rush every time, which I don't think is his game. You are worried about the functionality, and that's the thing I think is the tough part to differentiate.
Do you think he'll be more limited in playing the Leo position due to this?
I'll be honest, I don't know the ins and outs, the X's and O's of exactly how that defense works in the position, so I don't want to look ignorant by commenting on something I flat out don't know.
Basically, he would play more like a linebacker if he needed to.
No. A couple of years ago when Dwight Freeney went through his foot injury, I was trying to figure out the difference between, what's the difference between a defensive end in a 4-3 and a rush backer in a 3-4? Functionally, there's not one. I talk to a lot of people that watch a lot of tape. Dale Hornby from Pro Football Focus is the one I can talk about, but a lot of coaches, there's just not a lot. What you have to look at is what you're actually asked to do functionally. Are you asked to run rotationally? Are you asked to go forward? Are you asked to go backwards? What muscles are you using? What a guard is asked to do is very different from what a linebacker is asked to do. What a nose tackle is asked to do is very different from a cornerback. And while we're all playing the same game, or at least watching it, those guys are not doing the same things. And so that functionality is difficult. But from the difference from a defensive end to a rush backer, not really a lot.
Okay, well, that's definitely good to know. Definitely good to have you, Will. We had a couple other questions. It looks like
I wanted to know if possibly Clemens' age could have anything to do with his recovery.
No, not usually. There's a pretty limited age range when it comes to NFL players. Occasionally we'll get the 40-year-old kicker. Occasionally you'll get a player that plays forever. But mostly we're looking at guys that are 24 to 34. So, even if you're at the top end of that range, are you physically different? Are you hormonally different? Is your capacity for work different? No, not really. And actually, in some cases, there's the survivor effect. The guys that last longer in this league are both more durable. They have more stamina. They're more hardworking. They've usually been able to come back from injuries when some other guys wouldn't. So age doesn't factor in as much in football as it does in life, and especially other sports like baseball, where it actually does end up being, because there's a much broader range.
Okay, well, another question that we had was, what steps can the NFL take to prevent ACL injuries? It seems like there's so many this off season is like the season of injuries all of a sudden.
Yeah, it does. I don't think they need to do anything, drastic. I would love to see more linemen wearing knee braces. I would love to see more quarterbacks wearing knee braces. I mean, we all freaked out when Tom Brady had his knee rolled up, and he wasn't wearing a knee brace. Here's a guy who, is about as irreplaceable to a team as it comes, though obviously Matt Castle belies that a little bit. But let's face it, he's Tom Brady. He's an icon, and he's out there without a $40 knee brace that would have saved all that trouble. Now, obviously, when he came back, he had the knee brace, but then, he's lucky it just wasn't too late. Why isn't Russell Wilson wearing it? Now, it's tougher for the mobile quarterbacks. I get that it limits them, but, we're not talking about Russell Wilson. We're talking about, linemen. Why aren't defensive linemen wearing this? Is it 100%? No. A lot of people point out Robert Griffin tore his ACL with a brace last year, but he had a brace that was to limit lateral motion, not rotational motion. So that really wasn't it. I'm a little worried about the way defensive backs especially are playing. Who was it that blew out their knee? I'm blanking on the name. Oh, crap. The guy went low.
Oh, that was Niners versus Vikings.
Oh, was
One
it?
of the Niners went low on the Vikings.
I remember it was DJ Swearingen that went low and just shredded this guy's knee. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but he's got a Lattimore kind of injury. I'm worried about those guys because right now defenses are facing a couple challenges. If you've been on Bleacher Report recently, you've seen both Matt Bowen and Matt Miller, two of our superstars, talk about the read option offense and how defenses have to face it. It takes a really mobile safety, and the guy he used as the example was Earl Thomas. But we've seen over and over that cornerbacks are undersized. They have to be fast. And that tends to make them undersized. When they come out there and, Marshawn Lynch is coming at them, they're not going to heads-up tackle him. It's just not going to happen, or it's not going to be pretty if they try. So they almost have to cut him. At this stage, especially with wide receivers and the focus on, the NCAA calls it targeting, the NFL says, crown of the helmet kind of things, they're going low, and that's going to lead to more knee injuries. And, eventually we're going to get to a stage where, maybe there's a limit on where you hit them low. It's such a balance. It's so difficult. I am worried about it, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot they can do other than, really limiting the defense to a level that would really change how they have to play.
And that would just not be football anymore. Really?
Yeah, exactly. I think at some point we've overreacted. The concussion obviously is a serious issue. I was very happy to see, of all the things that came out of the concussion settlement, the NFL announced today that they're going to do, I forget what the exact name is, but it's like the Head and Health Challenge. They've got $10 million that they're going to invest in certain things, and you can actually go online and find it. GE is involved in it. Under Armour is involved in it. One of the things I've been suggesting for years is what I called an X Prize. The X Prize was set up about a decade ago to have a private space flight, and whoever met a criteria got $10 million. I thought that would be pretty good incentive. Find somebody. There's some guy in a garage somewhere, some Einstein who can figure out how to make a better helmet. Let's incentivize that. And the NFL taking this $10 million step, I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. And if we get to that stage, there are smaller things like USA Football's Heads Up program. I think they're going to grow the sport from the ground up, but it's going to take a long time to change the culture.
And we'll be back with Seahawks defensive lineman Michael Bennett.
Football fans, check out ProFootballCentral.com for all the latest NFL news and analysis. Also, check out the very popular Pro Football Central Radio Network for awesome NFL talk around the league. Go to ProFootballCentral.com. ProFootballCentral.com. Football fans, check out ProFootballCentral.com for all the latest NFL news and analysis. Also, check out the very popular Pro Football Central Radio Network for awesome NFL talk around the league. Go to ProFootballCentral.com. ProFootballCentral.com.
Welcome back to Seahawks Central Radio. We're on with Michael Bennett tonight. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, glad to hear it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, no problem.
So we have a couple questions for you, and just to warn you off the bat, they're not normal interview questions. We don't roll like that. All right, so this is something that as soon as we found out that you were going to be on, Kevin and I both immediately wanted to ask you this question. Do you have a nickname for your beard?
No, the Moses beard.
The Moses beard. That's pretty good. If you didn't, we were going to ask if we could come up with it.
The Moses beard, that's what I call it.
The Moses beard. We'll coin that.
Everybody had, those wives had a beard.
That's true, actually.
Jesus, Caesar, Genghis Khan.
Oh, that's funny. He's right, though. That is a fact. We're going to hyphen that and put Michael Bennett after it as your own quote. All right. If you had to eat one for the rest of your life, would you rather eat Dick's Burgers or Jimmy John's?
Dick's Burgers. Pause.
Dick, how come?
It's just better. Sandwiches are cold.
Sandwiches are cold.
I mean, hamburgers are American.
That's true.
Oh, he's got us there.
Yeah. Stumped by Michael Bennett today. So can we convince you to get on Twitter? What do we have to do to convince you to get on Twitter?
I don't know. I got to talk to my wife and see. Because my brother wants me to get on there bad.
You should. I'm sure you hear all the Twitter stuff in the locker room.
Yeah, it just seems so time consuming. I see people. I think the real reason I don't want to do it, I just see so many people like glued to their phones that I was like, seems like a trance that I don't want to be in.
Yeah, I mean it's what you want to put into it. It's a connection to your fans, at least.
Well, no, I know that part, but I just see so many people all they do is look on their Twitter all day, like, oh, eat breakfast, Twitter.
All the 12 man wants to know what you're eating for breakfast, though.
Yeah, they before they even brush their teeth, they're on their Twitter.
That's okay.
I just woke up.
I expect, though, now that if you get a Twitter, that those are going to be your first 3 tweets.
Yeah, I just woke up. I had cereal.
What kind of cereal?
I don't know. I'm a Twitter peek and I'm like, can I get some free Honey Nut Cheerios?
That's true. You got a point. It's one of those things. It's like the fans want you to be on it, but sometimes it can be time consuming. And I see, like a bunch of other, players have a really hard time with it too. It's just, it can be time consuming, but I think that you should be on it.
All right, I need to be on it.
You do. And then you can follow me and I'll follow you and it'll be fun. So what are you looking forward to in this first game against Carolina?
I'm just looking forward to, our team coming together and starting off this long journey together and just playing the way we know we could play and play the way we expected to play and, dominate from the beginning of the game.
Do you have any superstitions when you go on the road?
My cleats, I always change my cleats like 10 times. I just got to find the right cleats. They just got to fit right when I'm playing.
Really? Is that like just a thing with you, or is it better for your skill?
I don't know. It's just like, these don't, I'm like you give me 2 pair that's brand new or a 1 old one, I might wear 1 old one, 1 new one on the right. It just all depends.
That's awesome. You should tweet about that.
I need to.
You should. You'd start a trend, an old one and a new one, and then you'd have all of Seattle doing that.
I might make a dance call that.
You should. You should. Who is the funniest person in your opinion on the team, other than yourself?
Probably Richie Sherman.
Is he just crazy in the locker room?
He's just funny. Everything he says is funny to me.
Everything he says is funny to the fans too.
He has a big personality. And I don't think he's playing either.
I don't think so either. I think that's really how he is.
I just think that's how he is.
So with the Real Rob report leaving Seattle with Mike Rob's absence, do you think that anybody is going to step up and fill that void?
No, I might do that.
I was going to say, I volunteer you. Yeah.
The Michael Bennett
report.
But
everybody loved that show, man.
Yep.
And Mike Rob's such a good player, man. It sucks that how things go in the NFL with money and all that, those type of things. You feel a certain way, especially about a guy that was so classy in everything that he does.
Absolutely. Well, we absolutely think that maybe you should fill that void. You could totally do it. We would watch it.
And if you'd like to host it on Pro Football Central, there may be free tequila in it for you.
Oh, I need to.
That's true. We would always host it for you. So how has the Seahawks locker room mentality changed since 2009, in your opinion? Is there any huge changes?
Yeah, I think it's more of a winning attitude here now. It's just like everybody wants to be great. Everybody's early. It's not just one person. It's just tons of people, just competing to be the best. And I think that's going to drive us the whole season to be the best team in the league.
So back in 2009, who was the person that was like, I'm going to be the greatest?
Probably, Walter Jones. But he was just a great player, and he just carried himself that way. And I think he's probably the main person I remember, him and Matt Hasselbeck.
Speaking of Matt Hasselbeck, speaking of Hasselbeck, what type of major changes in leadership tactics have you noticed between Hasselbeck and Wilson?
I just think Hasselbeck was himself. He just, laid back type of guy. He gets the job done. I think Russell was just one of those guys that I think he was meant to lead and be a great leader. And everything he's done in his life, he's been a leader at it. And I think he does a good job of putting everybody in. And he's just himself, and I think that's what people like. Because when you're yourself, people love that.
I kind of think that's how it is for everybody on the team. It seems like everybody has their own personality, and that, for whatever reason, seems to be highlighted with Seattle.
Yeah.
So what was your vote against the Hard Knocks coming to Seattle? Were you for it or against it?
I think it's a good and a bad thing, honestly, because it's good, people get publicity after that, but at the same time, I think it's good. It's good too because people see what the NFL is really like. Everybody thinks it's just a Sunday, but they don't see the work that people put in, and they don't see how people get cut, and all the bad things that the NFL has. It shows both. It shows all the bad things the NFL does and all the good things that it does. So, I think I have mixed feelings about it. I hate to see somebody on TV and the way that they're talking about them, and it's really somebody's life.
Right. Do you think it was, as far as we were concerned as fans, the reason the Hard Knocks didn't come here was because, the pressure or the spotlight, I guess you will, didn't need to be a distraction. Do you feel like it would have been a distraction?
I think it would be a distraction as far as when there's cameras all the time, people try to do more than what they're supposed to do, and I think that becomes a distraction because everybody wants some of that spotlight. And I think I'm glad that Pete made the decision not to do that.
Yeah, I am too.
So, Michael, what's your familiarity with Cam Newton after playing in that division last year?
I'm familiar with Cam. He's a great quarterback. I think they're switching over to really show what he could do. I think the first 2 years they're trying to make him gimmicky, and now he's just trying to be a stereotypical quarterback, and be back in the pocket and make the great decisions. And I've seen him develop over the first 2 years, first running around and completing more passes and him growing as a leader. And I think he's a great player in this league, and it's more to come from him. And, getting to play against him this week is going to be a really good challenge for us. See how we rush, because he'll lose the pocket very well, the rushers, so we have to be able to make sure that we get him down.
How is the solidarity amongst that defensive line? Do you all feel prepared to go in there? Do you feel that you have enough confidence to make sure you keep an eye on Cam so he doesn't split for a run?
Our defensive line is probably one of the most talented groups of men that probably be put together in a long time, because we have a lot of different guys that's had a lot of success in the league. With Quinn, he's coming back, Cliff's coming back, and all those guys. And right now we've got some young guys in there, but they're going to be really good players in this league, and they're getting developed by some of the best coaches and some of the best players. I think our D-line is going to be doing really pretty good this week. We got a lot of guys out there that's ready, that's hungry, they're studying, and they know what's going to happen before it happens. And that's when that happens, when opportunity meets when it comes at that point, that's when great things happen.
Yeah, most definitely. We're looking forward to that game as 12s.
Oh, definitely. I've been waiting all season for football to start. I'm sure you have too.
Everybody. It's like, football is America's sport. Everybody says it's baseball, but I don't believe it's America's sport. It's America's pastime sport, because people don't really just line up to watch games like that. Unless it's the Yankees and the Red Sox or the Dodgers and the Angels or somebody. It's got to be a big game. But when it's Sunday, everybody, you can't go to no Buffalo Wild Wings, Wing stop anywhere. Like, everybody's watching football. The world stops. You know what I mean?
Yep,
like,
that's true.
People don't even go to church. We got people that go to church on Sundays like, you know what, God? For 16 weeks, I'm not going to go to church, okay? People, it's
true, though. We went to the preseason game, which we went to all of them, but we went to the preseason game, and it was like mid-season game. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The whole thing was sold out.
These fans here are just crazy. Like, nobody does it like they did. And it just shows, the kind of fans we have here and what the expectations are this year. When you're supposed to go to the Super Bowl, it's a lot more people come to watch the game than if you're not expected to do anything.
Right, absolutely. Well, on a side note, Have you ever played any pranks on your teammate?
Yeah, I play pranks on them all the time. Like, every day I undo the water. Somebody drink the water and it falls all over their face. I just think that's funny.
See, you gotta film this.
Or rookies, I go to the hotel and order a lot of food in their room and they don't even know it.
Is there any rookie that has been upset about that?
No, but when I was in Tampa, Adrian Claiborne, he never knew that I was doing that to him. He was always like, "Man, my bills are always high." I was just laughing, like, Adrian, I did that to you. Like, it's funny.
That's so funny. Yeah,
Him and Gerald McCoy.
That's so funny. Well, I think we're gonna send you a T-shirt here soon. I think Michael Bennett needs a T-shirt.
Yeah, he needs a Twitter also.
And a Twitter. If you get a Twitter, we'll send you a T-shirt. How about that?
I need to get Twitter, and the T-shirts need to have my face with a beard. It says Moses' beard.
Moses' beard. Only the real people have beards.
We can do that.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Jamie.
I was just gonna say Big Frog is our T-shirt people, so we can totally do it.
Yeah, we can get you a shirt with a beard on it and your face. Done.
As long as he gets a Twitter.
Yes. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming on again.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
And go Hawks.
Yeah, go Hawks.
Of course.
Seahawks Central Radio brought to you by Fuel, Sports, Eats, and Beats. 164 South Washington Street in Seattle. 206-405-FUEL. On the web at fuelseattle.com. Fuel, the official sports bar of Seahawks Central Radio.
Yeah, Fuel. So, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm going to be at Fuel for the Carolina game this Sunday. I love people, so I'd love to meet anybody who's willing to come out and celebrate our first game.
Totally thought you were going to say celebrate our first victory.
That's a little preemptive. I mean, I see it happening, but...
Really quick, this game against Carolina is going to be completely different from what it was last year. Last year was a defensive stand, and so much has changed between both teams in the last year. Cam Newton, they're trying to keep in the pocket more. They've got injuries all along their team. It's going to be
injuries too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
We have a lot of injuries. Well, just to nail it home, though, it is 164 South Washington Street, Fuel Sports Bar. If you follow me on Twitter, I tweet about it a lot. I'd really love for anybody to come down and watch this game, especially, it's
Pioneer Square area. So, yeah, get in the Pioneer Square area and then start looking.
Yeah, and they can always tweet me.
It's a really great bar, really good breakfast. Go if you want, because it's a 10 a.m. game. You want breakfast before that game. You want to be fed. Go at 9 o'clock in the morning when they open. Have a breakfast burrito.
I'll be there. I will be there. So, speaking of this game, though, I got the complete list of injuries for who's sitting this game out. We got, as we talk about, Bowie's shoulder, Clemens, Hill, Averill, Mebane, McDaniel, Browner, Rice, and Williams. That's a pretty extensive list.
That doesn't seem like it's official for out. They'll announce right before the game who's officially out. But that's just who's injured right now.
Yes.
But they can always take them off in 2 days because some of them are hamstring injuries.
Some of them are hamstring injuries. That's correct. And I have pulled my hamstring before. That's not even English. I pulled my hamstring before. That's not fun.
It sucks.
It does suck. And it was really sad to be like, oh, Williams' head. I don't like that at all.
But potentially some of those people will be back by Sunday.
Yeah. Well, not Rice, though. Rice's knee, I guess he's not coming back Sunday.
Okay. Taking it easy on the knee. Wish you the
best,
right?
I hope so. Yeah, let's do that. Take it easy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Seahawks Central Radio this week. Hope you enjoyed our interviews, the injury insights, and
Will Carroll.
Michael Bennett announcing that he wants to do a show.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, and in the middle of the show, I had people that were tweeting me that were like, this is Michael Bennett's actual Twitter. So we'll get that confirmed. I don't know.
There's no blue check mark, people.
There isn't. It isn't Twitter verified, so therefore, I can't say that because then that means that it's not my Twitter either because I'm not verified by Twitter. I don't know enough people. But yeah, we'll get that verified for you. And then, Michael Bennett. I think we're going to have him on again. And we'll have shirts and beards, and this is going to be awesome. I'm super excited. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
This has been a presentation of the Pro Football Central Network. For news, blogs, highlights, and more, log on to ProFootballCentral.com.